if you don't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
If you absolutely refuse to lose,
there's no other choice.
Then you will succeed, and you will get there. And it's interesting because the way that you just described going about that is very reminiscent of how you just described you started, which is to say, like, what you just described to me, that trajectory is what I was almost call like a side hustle or moonlighting as, right? Because what you just described, which is I'm going to work on making my ice cream great. After I work on making my ice cream great, I'm going to make it for friends. After my friends love it, I'm going to start trying to sell a little bit. Once I sell a little bit, I'm going to go to a cart. After I go to a cart, I quit my job and I go open a fucking brick and mortar. You know what I mean? Because we do have to make a living to survive unless you're still living at home or whatever. So it's not, and that's another thing is like, you may not always be able to have a job that pays your bills that you absolutely are in love with. And if that's the case, then your mindset needs to change from fuck this thing I got to do, this sucks, to I am using this to get to where I want to go. And then you can become grateful for the job that you have because you know that job that you have that you hate or maybe that you just don't love will allow you to start moonlighting as the thing you want to be until you. And so if you look at it as a stepping stone, you don't have to like every single stone. You have to like where you're going.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. You have to like where you're going is a great one. Yeah, I mean, I also think, I will be transparent. I do think that there are also other elements that do make it hard, right? Like, I don't think, just because I think it's a practical perspective doesn't mean everybody's going to be able to do it because there are also the other elements of all the hurdles you're going to face, the ups and the downs, so on and so forth, right? You also have to have the mental and emotional fortitude to get through that stage, which is probably that stage never ends, I guess. But to deal with that, right? Because that's a part of doing something like this. But I don't know. I would say like my parents and my dad and my brother have always been very entrepreneurial. I never heard them complain. They just did what they needed to do and took care of business. And I think that helped me see the sort of unemotional side of what needs to be done. And that helped me a ton.
So you think they sort of set the example for the mindset that you sort of took and maybe tweaked and made it your own, but ran with?
I would say so. They gave me a good baseline, and I kind of elevated it from there where it was, I have very big goals, very big aspirations, things that I want to get to. And like you said, not taking no for an answer, but also having the thought of like, I don't care what it takes. I'm doing this.
Fuck yeah.
If I don't sleep, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. So we have a phrase for that. It's called "not a damn chance."
Yeah. I mean, but that's what it is. From. That's what it is. Like you have to have that like all or nothing mentality
because there's nothing for you to fall back on. Like, this is it. You're going.
But it's also like, what's the point? I mean, there's no if you have a real thing that you want to do. Most of those things are going to take a very long time to do it. You're probably going to have to commit your life to figuring it out. So I would rather commit my life to figuring it out and doing it and die knowing that I gave literally every millisecond to it than leaving it as a possibility in the distance that's like looking me in the face.
See, I agree with you wholeheartedly, except for if you give every ounce of yourself, I don't think it's possible to not achieve your goal.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
no, I agree.
Like I've never met anyone who's like, I gave it my all. I never ever gave up, and I never got anywhere with it.
Yeah.
Now sometimes, and Margarita, my wife, will remind me often, because we talked a little bit about that imposter syndrome earlier. That we became overnight successes, like legitimately like 0 to 100 at year 11. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like she'll remind me that like we're an overnight success at year 11.
Yeah.
And that's journey. Year 11 of owning, not year 11 of cooking. That would have been year, what am I, 19 years now? So this would have been 4 years ago. So that was year 15 of cooking, year 11 or something like that. And so sometimes it takes a very long time to realize your actual goals. And for me, there was an interesting moment where I learned to just sort of be patient. And that is that when we first opened our restaurant in 2013, I wanted to be the best chef in the world. I wanted to open the best restaurant in the world, and I wanted to be recognized as such. And I always bothered me that I knew we were cooking at a level that we didn't get the notoriety for. We just didn't. Now we did get, we got a lot of accolades, but not on the world stage. And then I started to realize that it was over a decade before El Bulli got its due. It was at a decade that Noma got its due. There was all these restaurants that I looked up to that were clearly the top of the food chain. And if you watch their trajectory, it took 10 years for them to actually break through and become this, have the notoriety that they deserved from day one. And so I remember telling myself, maybe in year 2 or 3, give it till 10 years. Because I think part of the video game, part of the, you have to hit level 10 before it's going to happen.
It's experience points or skin in the game. You
have to have that many reps. You have to have that long of people.
Building muscle.
Yeah.
It takes time. You know?
Yeah.
Not a damn chance. Not a damn chance.